We are back after a one-day hiatus. Sorry about that one, but, life. 5 games. We'll cover all of them. I'm sure we have some Moses Brown questions. I haven't even looked yet, but I will assume there will be Moses Brown questions. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the results. We'll talk about some interesting performances, some poor performances. Lots to cover. This is what day are we at? Thursday. See, I miss a day, I'll lose track. This is the Thursday post-game show. Let's go balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Got something loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me, and my mama's healthy.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I'm Adam King. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AdamKing91. Find us, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere, everywhere you consume fantasy basketball content. We are also part of the Old Man Squad at Old Man Squad on Twitter. 5 games. Now, there was no show yesterday. I do apologise. Things happened, but nothing I can do about that. We are back today. Let's get into the games. We only had 5, but I like 5. I like 5. I like 7, 9, too many, 11, too many. So happy with 5 games. First game of the night, Golden State. They get the win over Orlando. Now, it was a pretty close one. Orlando probably would have won if it wasn't for one player. Final score was 121 to 115. We will start with the Warriors, and we will start with that one player. He is named Steph Curry. 56 points, season high for him. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. 12 of 19 from 3. 12 of 12 from the line. So, pretty good performance if you have Steph on your roster. No one else did anything really other than Quinton Post off the bench, who had 18 points. Draymond was pretty good, very Draymond line, 12 and 10, 4 assists, a steal. Jimmy Butler, easily his worst performance since coming over to Golden State, 5 points, 7 assists, but didn't need to do as much in this one. Moody had 10 points. Podziemski also not his best performance, 8 and 7 with 2 blocks. We're still rostering Podziemski. We're still rostering Moody until Kuminga is back. When he comes back, we reevaluate. Buddy Hield, man, what a waste of space he is at the moment. 3 points in his 18 minutes. Surely no one's rostering him or Gary Payton. Quinton Post, I wouldn't rush to add him here. Trace Jackson-Davis was out. Kevon Looney barely saw the floor. Did he even? 13 minutes. There he is. So, yes, I wouldn't be rushing to add Quinton Post. There are better centre options out there than him. Over to the Magic, we had a very good performance from Paolo. He was very aggressive from the onset. Free throws again. For some reason, these players that can't shoot free throws, 5 of 8 for him. But he was good, 41, 6 and 5, 2 steals. Franz Wagner also fairly good in this one, 27 points, 4 assists, 3 steals. And that's it. Cole Anthony, he played through a knee injury, so credit to him. He had 3 blocks. He had 11 points, 7 rebounds. We keep rostering him until Jalen Suggs is back. We're obviously rostering Cole Anthony over Anthony Black at this point. Anthony Black had 5 points off the bench. Wendell Carter had 9 and 14 with a steal. Had some foul trouble here, so only 27 minutes. But the 14 rebounds, nice. He's sort of back end. He's playing enough to have some value. Contavious Caldwell-Pope is not. Continues to be one of the poorer buys this season. Badadze had 7 and 5 off the bench, 22 minutes. A few extra minutes here with Wendell Carter in foul trouble. We don't need to be rostering Goga or Jonathan Isaac or any of those guys on the bench in Orlando. Game number 2, Denver and Milwaukee. The Bucks, 121 over the Nuggets, 112. Jokic, phenomenal again, 32, 14 and 10 with a steal. just didn't get a ton of support in this one. Jamal Murray was fine, 20 points. Porter, 5 of 22 from the field. He had 10 rebounds, but only 12 points. Aaron Gordon, who had been scoring the ball quite well, only 9 points in this one. Look, I think we're still rostering him. He's been good enough over the last week to warrant a roster spot, I think. Christian Brown had 13 and 10 with 2 steals. So we're rostering him. Westbrook, 10, 6, and 5 off the bench, 25 minutes. He's a little bit borderline. Obviously, we know he gives you he gives you production in multiple categories, which does work for some teams, but for others, he's just not doing enough. Julian Strouthart, 12 points. He's a bit of a point streamer, but not a very exciting one. For the Bucks, Kuzma, again, continues to do just enough. 16 points, 9 rebounds. So we hold him. Lopez had 22 points, not much else, but the points are nice. He got to the line a little bit more than we usually see, so that's good. Lillard had 19, 4 and 4. Torian Prince, 10 points, no interest in him. Gary Trent had 3 threes, 15 points with 3 steals off the bench. Streaming candidate, nothing more. AJ Green, 2 threes and a steal. I'd rather Trent over Green in pretty much every situation. Charlotte at Dallas, the Mavericks. Look, they get the win in the end. Charlotte kept this one competitive, so credit to them. They were actually in this one, but they do come up short. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball was a late scratch with ankle, whatever. This organization's just disgusting. So, yeah, who cares? Any of these Hornets guys, Mark Williams, LaMelo, probably those two specifically, sell high. If you can, I absolutely would, because I have no faith that this team is going to roll out anything close to a consistent lineup. Bridges, he seems to be a sort of a key piece that's playing every night, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get to a point where he is being rested. Mark Williams was very good in this one, 26 and 16, 3 assists, 1 block. Now, he was up against Moses Brown, so make of this what you will, but a very good performance for him. Nick Smith had 12 points with 7 assists. When LaMelo is out, he does a little bit more, especially in the assists column. I think he's okay to hold. KJ Simpson, I don't mind. Anytime LaMelo misses, he would be the guy I'd look at there. Diabate had 8 and 6 off the bench. Yusuf Nurkic was out with an illness. No trust there for those guys. So, yeah, it's going to be a very messy end of the season, I think, for Charlotte. For Dallas, let's start with Moses Brown. He was good. 20 points, 11 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Now, we know he can do this. He's done it before. I think he only has 1 more game left on his contract. Beyond that, I don't think they can roster him. I know there's some sort of red tape there. So would I add him for 1 more game? Now, I think they play the Bucks. So they are obviously a sizable team. So I think Brown will play and start in that game. So we could get 1 more interesting performance. But do remember, he will be up against Giannis and Brook Lopez, not Mark Williams and whoever the Hornets are rolling out. So if you want to grab him after this game, sure. But I'd be okay just ignoring this as well. There was also no PJ Washington in this one, who returned from an ankle injury and then wasn't able to play because of that ankle injury. So another situation where a team has potentially mismanaged an injury, which, man, the fact that Aaron Gordon is still listed as questionable before games with a calf injury, despite returning a month ago, if maybe more, it's very confusing. Najee Marshall, 3 points, 1 of 11 shooting. The minutes are there. If you want to hold him, you can, but you don't have to. Klay Thompson, he's been scoring the ball okay of late. Again, they need production wherever they can get it. So I don't mind Klay Thompson as a soft hold. Max Christie, only 8 points, but I would be holding him. He still played 34 minutes. Dante Exum has been very good. lately. 12, 3 and 3, 4 steals, 1 block, 25 minutes. They really just can't push him beyond 25 minutes, which caps his overall value or his overall appeal. I don't mind him as a back-end stream sort of guy, but 25 minutes a night is not really enough, I don't think, for him to consistently put up value. All right. Next game, Pelicans. They beat the Suns, who just can't win a game, 124 to 116. For the Pelicans, there was no Bruce Brown. There was no Kelly Olynyk. Both of those guys were just having a night off, pretty tired after playing 2 or 3 straight games. That's a lot to ask of a professional athlete, isn't it? So with them out, we had Carlo Matkovic in the starting lineup, and this is why we would love for him to start and play 30 minutes a night. 17 and 10. He didn't even get a block, and he will get blocks. So are we adding him? Look, I'm in the middle of writing a waiver wire article, which will come out tomorrow, and Carlo Matkovic is in it. So based on what I'm writing, I think he's worth grabbing. It is going to be up and down, but it would make sense for them to start prioritizing him a little bit. Zion was very good in this one, 27, 10, and 11, 2 blocks. Free throws were poor, but that's fine. Messi had 11 and 10 in his 29 minutes. Trey Murphy, he had 14 points in the first 9 minutes, and he ended up with 18 points. So not a great night for him. CJ had 19, 4, and 2. Alvarado. Look, he's a tough one. He came off the bench, not ideal. 14 points, 5 assists, 3 steals. That's a 12-team line. 20 minutes is not going to be enough for him to do that consistently. I'm still holding him, I think, in one league. Assists and steals can be valuable. I think his role is just going to fluctuate between 20 and 30 minutes, depending on the matchup, depending on who's playing well, all sorts of things. So I don't mind holding him, but I also think he's going to be pretty limited in spots. So, yeah, he is right on that cut line, I think, for me. For the Suns, no Bradley Beal in this one. So Tyus Jones moved back into the starting lineup, 15 and 12. Now, this is great, but Beal will come back and Jones will likely move back to the bench and play 18 minutes. So if you streamed him in, very good. I don't think we need to hold him. You could, in case Beal misses more time. But, I mean, we've seen Tyus Jones starting all season and being very limited. So I'd view this at this point as more of an outlier. Kevin Durant, fine. Booker, fine. Bol had 15 and 6 with 2 blocks in 29 minutes. He is also in my waiver wire article. I think he's worth just taking a flyer on again to see what happens. Nick Richards had 10 and 16 with a block. Much like Bol, he's fine. Look at the matchup. Look at who they're up against. He is giving us rebounds, though, so if that's all you need from him, he's fine. And Grayson Allen, who was pretty good in the last game, 0 points on 0 of 7 shooting, just a streamer, as is Royce O'Neal. And, yeah, even, Plumlee, Dunn, those guys, I wouldn't even consider them streamers, to be honest. And the last game of the night, which hadn't finished, but should have finished now. Let me just bring that one up. What's going on there? Okay, that'll do. The Timberwolves and the Lakers. There we go. The Lakers get the win. In the end, it was the Wolves made a nice run, made it close, 111 to 102 in the end. For the Wolves, Dante DiVincenzo returned, played 23 minutes off the bench, 9.6 assists, a steal. Make sure he is rostered. The minutes will go up from here. So I would say within a week, he will be back to 30, 32 minutes. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 14 points, a steal and a block. I don't think we need to roster him. DiVincenzo will supplant him. He will supplant Mike Conley as well. So no need, I don't think, to prioritize Alexander Walker. Anthony Edwards was pretty meh in this one. Jaden McDaniels was fine. We roster him. He's put together a really nice stretch here, so keep rostering him. Naz Reid had 3 and 12, just shot the ball terribly here, so not a good night, but we roster him. Gobert, it sounds like he's still a couple of games away, so yeah, Reid will play big minutes. Randall is also a couple of games away. Conley had 10 and 4 with 2 steals, like I said. I think DiVincenzo comes for his minutes. If you want to hold Conley for another 1 or maybe 2 games, I think that's fine, but very limited, as we know. Terrence Shannon, 25 points off the bench. I'm not buying into this. It was a very good performance, but both he and Jalen Clark have been up and down. Next game, it could be Jalen Clark, who plays 28 minutes, and Terrence Shannon, who plays 14. So, yeah, I'm not... yeah. Oh, I've just probably got a... Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I haven't read up on this game yet. Okay, so Anthony Edwards got ejected. And yes, I knew that he was 1 ejection away, or 1 tech away from a suspension. So, okay. So if he is suspended tomorrow, their starting lineup will look exactly how it looked here. They could move DiVincenzo in. They could move Terrence Shannon in. So, look, I guess you probably hold Conley. If you want to stream Shannon, you can. If you want to stream Jalen Clark in. He was terrible tonight, 3 points with nothing. But he has been a good steals streamer. So he's someone I'd consider tomorrow. So let's go DiVincenzo, Shannon, Clark, and I guess Alexander Walker. So it could be any one of those guys, really. For the Lakers, they continue to play very well. Luka Doncic had 21 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 of 20 from the line, from the field, 8 of 12 from the line. So efficiency issues here, but the production is good. Austin Reeves, who I know people were down on a little bit following the Doncic trade, I think he's been really good. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 11 of 12 from the line. So, yeah, I was expecting a little bit of a hit, but the efficiency's been good. He's just a really, really good player. So they will continue to play him a lot of minutes. LeBron had 33, 17, and 6. Nice night for him. Hachimura, he's in that points bucket that we know when he doesn't score, he does nothing else. 5 points here. If you want to hold him, maybe you get some more production out of him, but he's not a must roster by any means. Jackson Hayes had 10 and 7 with a steal and a block. Again, a big man streamer, much like Zach Edey, much like Gogi Badadze to some degree, Wendell Carter. There's a few centers floating around that are in that discussion. And then as for the bench, nothing fantasy-wise. Finney Smith is giving them a really good look in terms of real-life basketball, but he is not a fantasy asset, as we know. All right, let's get to some quick questions. And, oh, yes, there are Moses Brown questions. Is Moses worth picking up? And Loandes answers it for me. No, I don't think we do. Look, sure, if you want to stream him in for one more game, go ahead. I don't think we need to say much more about him. Are we worried about Denny, despite his questionable tag, debating whether to drop him for Ware or Santi Aldama? Santi Aldama is also in my waiver wire article, just as a heads up. I guess it depends what you consider worried. The Blazers are in a position where if there's any doubt, they just won't play him. So any of these Blazers guys, there's an element of worry. Aldama is just finding a way to put up numbers. He is somewhat similar to Denny. He just sort of chips in across the board, finds a way to put up value. Not as good as Denny, but similar in terms of what he brings to the table. A little bit more probably in terms of blocks. Denny is better in your assists category. In a 10-team league, I think I'd be okay with that if you're a bit worried. Galahad, if Jalen Smith returns tomorrow, should we prioritize picking him up or Zach Collins, assuming Vooch misses the next 2 games? Yeah, isn't that weird? Vooch was probable 2 games ago. He missed that game, and then he was doubtful, and he's doubtful again. So, funny there. Whether they assumed he was probable, went and got a scan, and it actually turned up something that they weren't aware of. And if that's the case, then I think because it's a calf, I'm pretty sure this could be a week, 2 weeks missed time. If this is a calf strain, they haven't really given us too much information, but that's very Chicago-like. Who would we prioritise? Yeah, look, that's a tough one. I mean, I'd probably go with Zach Collins just because he's playing very well. Smith will probably be somewhat limited. I know it was only a concussion. I'd probably go Collins just because he's in the lineup. They're playing well. They probably bring Smith off the bench and play him sort of 18 to 20 minutes initially. So I'd probably go Zach Collins right away. Joseph Kim. If you have a good player who doesn't fit your punt, you have Norm Powell and your soft punting threes and free throws. Would I trade him for a lower value player who does fit your build, like a Draymond or even off the waiver wire, Khalil Ware? Look, I wouldn't drop Norm Powell to get someone off the waiver wire. He's too good. You have to trade him. But yes, I would look, if he doesn't fit what you need, then you could certainly look to move him for a player that fits your build. That makes sense at this time of year. Will I be adding more ink if the Tigers manage to win another title? Well, look, that's not going to happen, but yes, I probably would if they did. Would I take Jamal Murray over or Chet over Scotty Barnes rest of season? Yes, I probably would. Carl, planning to pick up Jackson just for his secured role. Would I drop Nurk for him? Currently sashing Ayton, Suggs, and Io. Yeah, look, I think you could drop Nurkic for Jackson Hayes. Nurk is not playing 30 minutes a night. So, yeah, whether he's starting or not, they're playing him 20, 22 minutes. So much like Jackson Hayes, I think they're both pretty limited. Is the AJ Green run over? Yeah. Was he ever on a run? Maybe he was. But, yeah, I don't think we need to be rostering him. Are we giving Bohr another game since the minutes are there? Well, let's see what happens with LaMelo. If LaMelo's back, probably not. But God knows what they're doing. Is Quentin Grimes still a hold, or would I pivot to Yabusele? I think I'd hold Grimes over Yabusele. Question from Adam. Oh, it's not a question. It's hope that I'm doing well and that best of luck with my surgery. Yeah, we're about 2 weeks from surgery. So I wish it would just come. It's a pain in the ass. Alex, are we dropping Mark Williams? No. First good game in ages, but Charlotte are putrid. With centres like Post, Dayron, Sarr, Rashawn on the wire, do I pick one of them up? I wouldn't. No. Mark Williams is better than Post. He's better than Sarr. He's better than Rashawn. He's better than Dayron. I mean, I love Dayron, but I'd rather Mark Williams. So I would look to trade him. I wouldn't just drop him. He's too good. He's too good. Another one from Alex. Had to drop Scoot to pick up Dante today, but should clear waivers by their Sunday game. Add him or Shaden. So adding Scoot or Shaden. They're very backwards and forwards, aren't they? Like someone's good, someone's bad. Shaden went off yesterday, but he had been pretty ordinary leading into that game. Yeah, I mean, Scoot has a little bit more upside across the board, I think, but Shaden, in terms of pure scoring, I'd rather him. So, yeah. Do you need assists? If you would rather assists or you do need assists as well, I would probably go Scoot. But I think both of them are probably back-end guys. Is Eve Meesey back? Was that just a rough slump? Look, he is who he is at this point, I think. He's a streamer, soft hold if you need blocks and rebounds. There was no Olynyk today, remember? So there was a bit more of an opportunity for him. Is Keegan's game yesterday an outlier? At this point, yes. It was good, but yeah, more of an outlier, I think. And then we've got some Anthony Edwards stuff. Was that the worst game of Naz Reid's life? It's probably not the worst, but it was pretty bad. The 12 rebounds were handy. Look, tomorrow in terms of who are we adding, maybe Dillingham. I don't know. That's a good point regarding DiVincenzo. I should have thought of that. There's a chance he doesn't even play tomorrow, given he was coming back from an injury and it's a back-to-back. So, yeah, look, there'll be someone. But in saying that, most of my teams tomorrow have full rosters. So check your roster tomorrow because there's a pretty good chance. Oh, that's not what I want to look at. There must be quite a few games tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 games tomorrow, so streaming opportunities are probably going to be limited. Look, this is exactly why I was not that down on Reeves, because Luka and LeBron are going to demand defensive attention, and Reeves is a very good offensive player. So if he's got a third best defender on him, I suppose. He's very good playing off the ball and on the ball as well, quite versatile. So, yes, he has been playing very well. Okay, Rui left this game with a knee strain. All right. Again, I didn't... only 18 minutes. I should have looked that up. It's what happens when I'm writing an article and getting ready for a show. If he misses time, I guess Vanderbilt might come in to the starting lineup. Finney-Smith. There's not really anyone, I don't think, that would that jumps out at me as someone we need to be adding in that situation. Chad, I know we were saying don't add Moses because of the situation, but could he have played his way onto a new team? Oh, look, I doubt it. Maybe, but I mean, we've seen production like this from him before. Teams, in theory, are smart enough to know that this was against Charlotte. We'll see, but I'm not. I wouldn't count on that. 10-team 11 cat lost Wemby, so traded McDaniels for Draymond. Sure. Yeah, I think that's a fine trade. Draymond's been playing really well, so. All right, let's finish these up because I've got stuff to do. Who are my biggest fantasy draft steals this season? Look, off the top of my head, I think Josh Hart, Dyson Daniels, Amen Thompson. Who else have I got on my... Yeah, I mean, they're three off the top of my head. I can't think of any others. I'm sure there are. Are there any new players that I've added to my never drafting again list? Well, Joel Embiid was on that list anyway, and nothing's changed there. Look, LaMelo, I don't think LaMelo's on that list. It would depend where he's going in drafts, but there's no way I'm taking him in the first round, even the second round. Just Charlotte are just such a dumpster fire that I have no faith in them. And they don't really have a direction. I mean, if I know they'll get Brandon Miller back. They looked better with him than they have without him. If they get a good draft pick, but I don't know. Where can you access the article? So it's a RotoWire article. I'll tweet it out. I don't even know if it's a paid thing. I just write it. But I'll tweet it out. I'll tweet out a link to it tomorrow. But it's on RotoWire. Okay, rotating half my roster through one IR spots. Who of these are the drop? Cam Thomas, Dante, Pods, Mark Williams, 4 center limit. Probably Pods. Yeah, it might be Pods. It might be Dante. Mark Williams, like I said, I just wouldn't, because I think he's a very good player. Cam Thomas, we know how good he can be in points leagues. He is going to be very limited, I think. So if you can he's not a stash because he's playing, but I think he will scale up. Podjemski, I don't think will. I think he's been good, but once Kuminga's back, there's no way he gets better. So probably Podjemski. How much do I think Kuminga will impact Draymond? Look, a little bit, but Draymond doesn't rely on points, and that's all Kuminga is. So Draymond, he'll take a bit of a hit, but I don't think it'll be anything significant. What else have we got? Okay, how do I stop myself from dropping a player who has a rough slump? Example, in a shallow league, you drop Tobias, regretting it now. It's hard. Yeah, look, I mean, even I've done that. I've dropped players that I regret dropping. I'm sure I could come up with a couple of names even this year. Asar Thompson, I dropped. Look, it reaches a point where sometimes the drop or the decision to drop is based on facts and based on a good process. So, and it's not always the right move. We can't project what's going to happen. So sometimes it's just unavoidable. But everyone does it, except for those teams that aren't really paying attention. And sometimes that works in your favor with situations like that. But there's also the reverse of that situation where you hold a player that you'll get to the end of the season and go, they weren't even close to being a rosterable player. So there's pros and cons. How do you stop yourself? It's just patience. A lot of fantasy is patience and looking at sample size and having a look at minutes, what they've done in the past. So Tobias Harris is a good example. He was pretty close to a drop at one point, and I probably even said that you could consider dropping him. It depends who you're dropping him for. But working in his favour is the fact that he's played a consistent role all season. It's just been that his production has gone up with the Jaden Ivey injury. We didn't see that coming. If Jaden Ivey had stayed healthy, Tobias Harris may not have been as good. So, yeah, there is an element of luck, as we know, when it comes to fantasy. And a last one from Chad, a dynasty question. Yeah, not my strength, but it's a Suggs-related question. How far would I be willing to trade down knowing that Suggs is very jar-like in that on the court he's electric? Yeah, look, I think the injuries are a concern. He has been pretty injury prone. Sorry, messages, missed calls. So yeah, look, I think he's definitely taken a hit in dynasty leagues. I think he's probably still a top 70 player in a dynasty. Yeah, I mean, go ask Matt, ask Noah. They know. You know that they're the dynasty guys. I think he's probably taken a hit, but he is still quite young. And this latest injury is a weird one, though. I don't really know what's going on there. 10-team weekly points league. Would I drop the sell for Moses Brown? I would not. Only because, as we said, Moses Brown only has one game left in Dallas. When do I think Denny will come back? I don't think this is a long-term thing. I think I think he's questionable tomorrow, so he might not even miss any games. No updates from Jaden Ivey that I've heard. Look, I don't think he plays this season. That's, in my mind, he's done for the year. So, what's my favourite Lego build of all time? Ooh, that's a tough one. Look, it's probably the Titanic. I like just because of the size of it. So it's a fun one. I'm building that one again at the moment. Probably my Lord of the Rings builds. Probably my Barad-dûr and Rivendell. So the bigger Lord of the Rings sets. I like those as well. I've got a lot. It's hard. The Simpsons Lego, they were fun. So there's a lot, but there's some of my favorites anyway. All right, I'm getting out of here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Should be back tomorrow with a post-game show. All things going well. Enjoy the 10 games. Remember, streaming will be limited tomorrow, so don't just rush out and add players without actually checking your roster for tomorrow, because you might end up streaming someone that you don't even play. So just double check that. Please go and download. Please do all of that stuff. I know we're getting towards the pointy end of the season where listeners and viewers are dropping off, and that's to be expected. But you never know. Maybe we're getting some new people every day. I don't know. I'm Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep Postgame Show. Until next time, catch ya.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at FBI.